I asked the guys to, give me a list of their top 5 derbies around the world in football. Sorry, so we'll just rank our 5s from 5 to 1. And starting with you, Mace. What derby have you got in 5th place?
In 5th place, I've gone for the Northwest Derby. You know what that is?
That's the United Liverpool?
Yeah, bang. Good spot. The reason why I've gone for that, just because of a very historical context. So before Alex Ferguson came into United, Liverpool were the most dominant English team, right? And at one point, Fergie was interviewed, and he said this, let me quote, "My greatest challenge is not what's happening at the moment," obviously focusing what's the time he was interviewed. "My greatest challenge was knocking Liverpool off their fucking perch." And you can print that. I quoted that word for word. And of course, all the football knowers know what happened after that. Like United they've surpassed Liverpool.
Judge.
You can say what you want to say, but he said it and he did it. So I tip my hat to Fergie for that. I mean, in terms of the games, Liverpool United are always very entertaining. One of my takeaways, whenever Liverpool are playing really well and they meet United just has they just have something for Liverpool. You know it. They just have something for them. And it's always entertaining. So I guess you never, going back to your Spurs thing, one thing I would always bet on United against Liverpool is to cause an upset, especially when Liverpool are on the up. And for that, yeah, because one was that when you guys were doing well and Ten Hag came in and got like a 0-0 draw. Was that like 3 seasons ago?
That was last season. Season.
Okay, last season. Yeah. And then
even a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Sancho scored and they won 2-0.
Oh yeah, but that season we were poor. To be
fair, yeah, you were poor. But then again, even last season, you were going for the league.
Yeah.
You know, and you
that one is so bro.
Yeah. So that's why.
But fifth though, I've got the Northwest Derby way higher, you know. But
bro, I mean, for you, of course, it has more meaning to you. But for me, I'm only going to talk about derbies one that I've seen. I'm not going to talk about like them Brazilian things because I haven't seen.
I know Toad's got Boca Juniors and River Plate, and he ain't even watched them, man.
Bro, so I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to keep a buck. Yeah, I like the Liverpool United just because of its historical meaning. And yeah, that's my number 5.
All right.
Do I list it off or do we just okay? Come.
We'll just go.
My number 5 is we're getting to the SPL for this one, innit, man? That's Celtic v Rangers, innit, man?
Old Firm.
Exactly. Old Firm derby. Obviously, a lot of people kind of see the Scottish League as like an extension of like the league in England. I mean, like people can kind of have their opinions on it. And me personally, I believe that like the Scottish Premier League is somewhere between like the Championship and League One in terms of like quality. I don't think all the teams can kind of compete for like Premier League status, apart from the 2 heavyweights in that league, which is Celtic and Rangers. Obviously, they're both kind of based in Glasgow. Both teams obviously have the most league titles in Scotland by like a country mile. It's not even close. We've seen Rangers go into administration, get relegated, come back up, and still be competitive enough to be the one either the first or second team in that league. And just from an entertainment perspective as well, you know you can bank on a Scott Brown or a Marcus having a yellow card. Like
them Japanese done at Celtic as well. They're running riot lately.
You can bank on real entertainment. Like you can whenever there's a goal, whether or not it's Ibrox at the Celtic Park Stadium, the fans, like, bro, you can hear a pin drop before the ball hits the net, and then the fans are getting crazy. The tackles are flying in. You can expect at least 5 yellows on each side. Yeah, man. Even if you don't really follow Scottish football, when the Old Firm derby kind of comes on, you zone in, man. And it's funny because obviously, even the police know how mad that derby gets because it's more time. It's always at 12 p.m. Do you know what I mean? They always do it nice and early in the day, so the fans can't get too drunk because that rivalry runs deep in Scotland, man. So yeah, man, for sure, that's in my top 5. So I put that at 5 right now.
Yeah, obviously for me, on my 5th, I've got the Klassieker, which is translated to English is called the Classic. And in the Dutch league, you got the Classic is between 3 teams: Ajax, Feyenoord, and PSV, because they're the 3 most successful teams. But I'm talking specifically about Ajax and Feyenoord because that is the game where, you know, Dutch and some Belgians as well tune in for. Now, the history between Ajax and Feyenoord, it's like the old firm. It runs deep. The only difference is it's not in the same city, but Amsterdam, Rotterdam, rival cities, 2 of the biggest cities in the Netherlands. I think the difference between like derbies in England and derbies in the Netherlands is in the Netherlands it's more hooligan mentality, meaning I'm a Feyenoord supporter, but I was born and raised in Amsterdam. I couldn't walk around screaming that I'm a Feyenoord supporter because as a child, because even it'll get long. It'll get long. So even nowadays, even if you can't even say Amsterdam in Rotterdam, you have to say 020, which is the landline code of Amsterdam. That's how they can't even physically say Amsterdam. So that's how deep the hatred is. You get me? So, but it's always a little bro thing. Ajax way more successful than Feyenoord, way more historically, of course. And this is why Feyenoord kind of envies and hates everything that's, you know, got to do with Amsterdam. So with Ajax, sorry. So for me, 5th, especially coming back to Holland and really taking it in. Like you said, with the Old Firm derby, these games always get played at 1 o'clock because we're not trying to get people drunk, because even then it will get long. For the past 3 seasons, it's been played without away fans because if Rotterdam goes to Amsterdam or vice versa, long. The last edition even got cancelled because there were police strikes, and this is not a game that you want to play without police. So they cancelled it. So the Klassieker, yeah, man, it's extremely tense. Obviously now it's enjoyable, specifically for me, because Feyenoord are better than Ajax now. So, yeah. So now the dynamic has switched, so it's even more funnier now. But yeah, that's my 5th, man, in terms of derbies. Ajax v Feyenoord. Mace, your 4th.
My 4th will be what we just witnessed today, the North London derby. Yet again, steeped in history. All started when Arsenal moved from South London to North London, occupying Spurs territory. And, you know, the beef became, I mean, in history, beef always starts from land. So we did it right. We did it proper. I think one of my favorite part of being an Arsenal fan and hating Spurs was, I can't deny it, Sol Campbell, what he did to them. I thought that's proper.
That was crazy.
What
was that? That interview, he was like, "No, that's smart."
That's all right, man. That's what we're talking about. Man was like scratching his chin.
Next day, bro. I saw like a video of Wenger was explaining how that all went, and I was like, this is criminal activity that can't happen again. I don't think like that, but
not that high profile player. So like what's one of Tottenham's best players, like going to their rival. Yeah, it wouldn't happen again, man. That was one for the archives, man, for sure.
Yeah, and also he came over to the good side, and he did bits. And you know that's just kind of, for me as an Arsenal fan, just tells you how much Arsenal has dominated Spurs. North London would always be red. Now let's not fuck about. You know, we are the Arsenal. Spurs will remain shit. But anyways, in the history of North London derby, we remember the Henry celebration, the slide, and he's looking down at the Spurs fans whilst they're screaming bloody and effing this. It was great, and I think for as an Arsenal fan, it is in my top 5 derbies just because of what it means to me as an Arsenal fan and the history it created. Yeah, it's brilliant. North London forever.
Yeah. Yeah, let me go because I had the North London derby fourth as well. Obviously, besides that, everything that Shalom just said, totally agree. But the games itself have always been good games. Even if I go back to like the Martin Your days, where I think in that time Spurs kind of had you guys with the Van der Vaart days, the Aaron Leonard.
Yeah, it was close. It was getting close. Like the golf was
Yeah,
closing.
the goal was close in them times still. So yeah, I think Arsenal Spurs is you're always guaranteed a good game. I think the last couple of editions have not been that good, but obviously Arteta's a terrorist right now, so he's just trying to shut up shop. But yeah, North London derby has to be in the top 5, man. It's number 4 for me. So yeah, Toast, what's your 4th?
Yeah, my 4th has kind of actually already been discussed. I guess you could call it the Northwest Derby. And it's funny, I just wanted to quickly say, because I saw a tweet yesterday, funny enough, where one brother on football Twitter was making the distinction that a derby is like postcode or area related, and a rivalry can be like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't kind of transcend postcodes necessarily, but I personally see, because they're both in that kind of like Northwest area, even though they might not be both in Merseyside and both in Greater Manchester, I see it as a derby. So yeah, I'm gonna say number 4, the Northwest Derby, Liverpool and Man United. Yeah, man. Again, for me, the Premier League's the best league in the world. English football is the best football in the world from a league perspective, and these are the 2 most decorated teams. They've kind of been going back and forth for years and years. Who's got more trophies? Who's got more league titles, etc., etc. And we know on match day, like just the intensity of that rivalry. They've never liked each other. They obviously kind of want to claim to still be kind of kings of the North, man. So yeah, man. For me, it'll always be that'll always be a great derby, man. Liverpool, Man United, man, for sure.
Mace, your 3rd, man.
My 3rd is, and I cannot give a backstory to that. When I was a kid, I never understood. It was weird for me. Understanding the concept of 2 teams more or less sharing the same stadium. So I guess that kind of explains where I'm heading to. And I guess as the equivalent of that is 2 brothers sharing the same boxers or shirt or whatever. It's weird.
Hey, yo.
It's weird. But their history, I mean, they're one of the what's the word? Successful teams in Italy. And this is the Inter Milan, AC Milan derby. It's called if I can say it properly, the Derby della Madonnina. I can't even.
Madonnina, something like that.
My Italian is crap, but forgive me for butchering that. Yeah, I mean, they've given us great players. They've given us great, just greatness. And watching that game is always interesting. I mean, nowadays it's kind of calmed down a bit just because of Italian football and Juventus dominance. But back in the days when we had just greatness and good football, it used to be one of my favorite derbies to watch. So on number 3 would be the AC Milan, Inter Milan derby.
Yeah, that's a good one. That didn't even enter my top 5, you know.
Wow.
But my top 5 is strong though, but that didn't enter my top 5. But on number 3, I've got a very slept on derby that people kind of overlook. This one is also called the Classique, but in French it's called the Le Classique. And it's between PSG and Olympique Marseille. Now, if you watch these games between these 2, it's always fiery. If you go to Paris, you'll probably find more Olympique Marseille fans than actual PSG fans, because PSG, they're brand new. They're like Man City. They really got a history. The Qatari era kind of. I mean, before that, they kind of had a period, but they didn't win shit with Ronaldinho and them, man. But PSG and Olympique Marseille is deep rooted. And it actually stems from people living in those cities. In terms of Paris, it's like nice, wealthy, fashion capital, and Marseille, it's like rugged, it's like hooligan, it's like if you go to the trenches, basically, exactly. So in terms of class and geographical locations, that's kind of, you know, people from Marseille despise people from Paris and vice versa. So that's kind of where it starts, and then obviously it translates into football as well. These clashes as well, man. it gets feisty. Olympique Marseille, they used to be they're actually the most successful team in France, but obviously as of recent they haven't really been winning anything. With the come up of PSG in the last 15 years, they hate each other even more. You know what I mean? So PSG is trying to snatch Olympique Marseille's chain in terms of league titles. They're coming closer and closer. But one thing that Marseille has over PSG is the Champions League, and that's what, every time PSG fails, Marseille, you know what I mean, they laugh. So I think Le Classique is extremely, people don't really talk about that. I think, if it comes around again, tune in, because them games are feisty, man. Extremely feisty and fun to watch as well.
I think just from the perspective that PSG have obviously kind of dominated the league title, like for the last kind of couple of years, that probably, I guess, works against Marseille in that derby. I would say, obviously, we've in the last couple of years we've seen like Lille win the league, we've seen Lyon win the league. Did Saint Etienne win the league like a few years ago? I can't remember, but we've seen like we've not seen
Montpellier's won the league.
Montpellier. Yeah, Montpellier and Giroud, exactly. Sorry. So I think that's probably what works against Marseille. But yeah, I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it, man. Points were made for sure.
They're on the come up now, with Money Mace. They've got Donny's there, the Zerbi as well. He's running rings from people over there. So the next Le Classique will be interesting, man. Toes, what's your third?
Yeah, my third, funny enough, was the same as Mace, man. AC Milan, Inter Milan. If you kind of grew up in the UK, like especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a show called Go Lazio that would kind of come on weekly, and it would obviously kind of show all of the Italian games on a weekly basis. And I think that's kind of like where like my early kind of love for this kind of derby kind of came. One team's red, one team's blue. And sharing the same stadium is unheard of. Like, imagine Arsenal and Spurs having to share the same stadium. I know you can get a bus from Tottenham to Arsenal, but it's a complete different ball game to basically have two huge fan bases of completely different teams, both sharing the same stadium, but also living a stone's throw from the stadium as well. So you can only imagine what that derby is like on game day. Do you know what I mean, man? But yeah, man, like I said, from when Inter had like, the Rakobas and the Walter Samuels, and when, AC had like the Shevchenkos. I've been watching this derby and it's always a fun one. I feel like it's lost maybe a little bit of its spice like nowadays, and it probably doesn't get as much love as some other derbies that we've kind of referred to, but it's always one of my favorite derbies to watch whenever I get a chance to watch it, man. So yeah, that'll be my third one, man.
Yeah, man. Historically, that derby, yeah, for sure, one of the biggest ones, 100%. Mace, your second, top two.
My second has been said. Like I said, when we are coming up with this particular top five, my focus was just to deal with derbies that I have seen. So I'm not out there chatting nonsense, Old Firm derby, man. I think one of the reasons why it takes second for me is that as a country like Scotland, like football knowers, no matter where you go in this world, know the Old Firm derby. Like, I guarantee you that.
They're big clubs,
They're big clubs. Yeah, exactly. So we need to put some respect on like their names and like what they've done in football. Yeah, and Celtic especially and Rangers they've had proper good players play for them in history, So just looking at history, looking at what they've done, we've already discussed it. Yeah, they definitely go second, and the absolute hate that runs through those two clubs, it's unheard of, man. And I don't think we understand how much they hate each other. It's nuts. So
I saw like a video online when the recent Old Firm Celtic won 3-0. And I saw like a video of like Tavernier just having a scrap with like one of the Scottish fans, just cussing. It was funny as fuck. But yeah, man, Like you said, the hate runs deep.
The hate runs deep. So yeah, for that, I give it my second. Give it second in my list for top 5 derbies.
Yeah. My second, it was a tough one because I could have put it first as well, but my second has to be the Northwest Derby, Liverpool, United. Obviously, you guys have mentioned whatever you needed to mention, but for me, yeah, I've got growing up. I've lived in the era of Liverpool growing up, where Liverpool came out of their goodness and they were shit league-wise. You know what I mean? So I've suffered, and not only that. In Holland, growing up, I've had lots of friends that supported United. Came to the UK, I've had lots of people and friends that supported United. So I've always had United fans, people chatting shit, United winning stuff, United winning the league, United beating us. But I feel like even in those times, we had the better of United plenty of times as well, especially when United came to our ground at Anfield. They, yeah. I don't remember a time where, as of recent, we've beaten United 7-0, 5-0. I don't remember United beating us ever like that. It's always been close. 2-1, 1-0, 3-1 at most. But even at a shit time, we went to Old Trafford, they gave them 4. You know what I mean? So the Northwest Derby, every time, whenever they came out, Liverpool, we always rose because we knew, okay, this game, whatever happened in that season, we need to win or at least show ourselves in this game, innit? So yeah, the Northwest Derby is always fit, especially in the Fergie days, with Houllier and Rafa Benitez. The Dalglish, Roy Hodgson era, United, yeah, they moved to us. But even then, like I said, man, they ain't never given us 7. They ain't never given us 5. They ain't never given us 4. So with that, I mean, I can hold my head up high, man. But yeah, 13-1 is an abomination, and that we need to right our wrongs, man. I still maintain that United, they ain't seen the Prem in a very, very, very long time. We might not catch up to the 13, but in terms of my adult years and in terms of like my children, they will not know a good Man United, and I'm at peace with that. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Fair
Toast.
enough.
You're number 2.
Yeah, that one brings me joy, that last point there. But yeah, my number 2 is the North London Derby. Obviously, as a Tottenham fan, excuse me, as an Arsenal fan, it's just been a great rivalry. I know we've kind of previously discussed it, from the Sol Campbell move, which is obviously kind of very kind of highly talked about and touted, to Henry running the length of the pitch, scoring, sliding in front of the Tottenham fans. That going on to becoming a statue outside of the Emirates Stadium, to Arsenal going to White Hart Lane and winning the league. Colo Touré doing backflips in the stadium after winning the league, to 2006 when we finally feel as if Tottenham might have caught up to us and they have a chance to kind of win that. They have a chance to kind of qualify for the top 4, and people claiming that Wenger got his cronies to put some whatever in the Tottenham players' food in the hotel, and that made them sick. And as a result, Arsenal ended up kind of getting top 4. To the 4-4 game, we might remember, I think it was 09-10, where who was it? Bentley scored from almost like the halfway line.
Almunia is blonde in your hand, prick.
Aye, to Danny Rose's debut.
To Danny Rose. That was 2010, sorry, excuse me. Yeah. So to Fabregas scoring basically straight from kickoff.
Yeah.
We've seen some unbelievable derbies, man, both ways. Yeah, man. So just for me, this one, obviously, we don't need to really kind of talk about how close they are in like location, but just from a games perspective, and for the most part, them always being competitive until quite recently. Yeah, man. North London Derby has to be number 2 for me, man, for sure.
I think we all got the same number 1.
I was gonna say that we might as well say it together. 3, 2,
El
1.
Clasico.
El Clasico.
El Clasico.
I think I've got different iteration of El Clasicos. The Clasico, Le Clasique, El Clasico. I got 3 iterations. But yeah, El Clasico, man. Chat to me. Why is that the undisputed?
For me, I'll deal with the whole Sol Campbell thing. Figo. I mean,
yeah, that's iconic as well, man.
That is bastardization of like that. You know what, man? For love him or hate him, I'm trying to get his name now. Perez.
Calderon?
No,
Florentino
Perez.
Perez, yeah.
He has been so good for Madrid as what he's done. He's a bastard in things he's done, but he is a great bastard for what he's done.
Good president.
President. And what he's done, you have to respect it. You have to salute. So yeah, getting Figo, that was big. That was just taking not that guy that you hate, taking his woman. That's basically the version of it. You're taking his woman.
That's that Nines meme where it's like, "Here's your chains.
Yeah,
Come and collect your chains."
Bro, that's what he did. That's what he did. Snatched it to people chucking pigs at Figo, like at the games. It was crazy, you know. So that is steeped in history. Is one of the craziest thing to do, and of course, the Classico has given us so many good games. From the top of my head, Ronaldinho running a mock at the Bernabeu to everyone clapping him off. Messi doing the same. I remember that the year of Henry and that when they beat Madrid, was it 6-7-1, something crazy like that?
5-1, I think.
5-6-1. Yeah, and Ronaldo, the Ronaldo era, the Ronaldo Messi era,
Karma.
Gareth Bale, running,
Copa del Rey
final,
bro. Even Mourinho as well. Like it's been crazy.
Guardiola, Mourinho. That was peak El Clasico them times, bro.
I don't give Messi too much credit, but I think it was the Champions League semi-final where he just made one mad run and then on his right foot just kind of slotted it into the bottom corner. Like that was
Ronaldo on his knees trying to catch up. I'll never forget that picture. Ronaldo on his knees.
And we can't forget like the amount of red cards we've seen in that derby as well, man. Like Sergio Ramos and Pepe, all the dark arts that they've done over the years in that derby, man. I think just from my perspective, at least, obviously that derby being my number one, all respect to like Liverpool and stuff and what they've kind of done historically. But with Barcelona and Real, like we've seen them dominate the league as well, like on a consistent basis throughout the years, which is they've basically just been kind of like the 1 and 2 from at least in our generation of kind of consistently winning the league, you know. So yeah, man, multiple Champions Leagues, multiple leagues. Yeah, man. I mean, it has to be. Even if you don't even watch Spanish football, man, you're gonna tune in to watch the El Clasico. You feel me?
So yeah, Barcelona and Real Madrid. I've got a trivia question. Who scored more goals in the El Clasico, Messi or Ronaldo?
I'm gonna say Messi on the basis that he's definitely played more games in Spain, obviously. So by default, surely he must have got more goals.
Do you know how many goals?
It's a lot. I'll say like 30.
Less,
yeah.
I want to say 12.
More.
21.
So Messi scored 26 goals in 45 El Clasico appearances. Ronaldo 18 in 30 appearances.
Fair.
So yeah, man.
I know whose ratio I'm taking, boy, but quick maths.
Yeah, Ronaldo's ratio is better, but come on, man. What Messi's done in El Clasico, you can't even like compare the marking.
Let's head over to the bar.